is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Victoria. Today we are doing an eyeshadow look inspired by my lash line, Vanity Luxe. My lash line requires the colors blue, so today we're doing a blue eyeshadow look. The first step I'm going in with is my eyebrow pencil, and before I filled in my brows, I did brush them a little bit. The way I fill in my brows is not neat in any way at all, so if you're someone that's still trying to get used to how to do your brows, this is the perfect eyebrow pencil for you because this will not give you a harsh brow look, and it's so easy to use and to build up. Next, I go in with my Tarte concealers, and I use the shades Dark Sand and Sand. And I don't use a lot of sand because too much sand is too light, so I make sure to focus more on blending in that dark sand. And I go in with my flat brush. I will leave this in the description below. The key to getting great brows, I'm not going to say perfect because there's no such thing as perfect, but great brows is to take your time and to not rush the process. And also, my technique is working on one brow at a time instead of both at the same time, because I find concealers, especially concealers that I'm running out of, like the ones I use under my brow, they tend to oxidize fast, so I just make sure to just focus on one eye at a time and blend underneath my eye with the beauty blender. To cover up that dark spot, I just go over with the same concealer shades and just lightly brush over and just try to make it as even as possible. And I do a cut kind of in the middle, sort of. I don't know if you can really tell, but I just try to really blend it to make sure it all looks even. And then I take the other side of my Fenty shade, not my Fenty shade, what am I talking about? My Fenty eyebrow pencil on the other side, and I just brush my brows up so I can really get that arched look. If you feel like you went a little crazy carving out your brows, don't be afraid to go back in with your pencil and just to fill in those areas. Even if you didn't go crazy with the carving, just make sure you go back anyways and just fill in those spots that may look like they're not filled in and they're kind of sparse. Next, we'll move on to the eyes, and I already did one eye off camera, but now I'm just going in with my NYX eyeshadow base. And I love this primer so much. I'm shocked I don't hear a lot of things about it, a lot of reviews, a lot of comments, because this stuff right here makes my eyeshadows pop. And I'm using this e.l.f. Cosmetics brush and just blending and patting in that base into my lid and the crease of my eyes. You do want to make sure that it is even around the corners, but in the middle it doesn't have to be so much neat, just enough to where you know, like, once you apply the shadow it'll pop. Now I'm going in with my favorite eyeshadow palette from Colourpop, the Blue Moon palette. I am so in love with this palette. I ordered it like 2 weeks ago. And the shades I used were Clued In, Fine China, and Mad About You. And I focused more on using Fine China because I wanted that brighter blue instead of that dark shade of blue. While blending the 3 eyeshadow shades that I use, I just make sure to switch out between brushes, and I make sure to focus on using the smaller brush on the outer corner and the other brush on my middle lid. But I just go in the middle corner, carefully clean up that edge, and to add just a tad bit more color to give it that pop that we need, and to make sure that it's even on the whole lid. So as soon as I blend in those three shades that I use, I just go in with the loose glitter that I got from this place called EA Beauty. And I also bought their Holy Grail mixing liquid that helps this glitter glide on the eyes. And you can tell it's already popping.
Ryan Little.
I do like to apply the loose glitter mixed with the liquid in a patting motion and with a small tipped brush, because it's just easier to control and it doesn't have the glitter fall underneath your eyes. But if you do want to reduce fallout, if it does happen, then just make sure you put like a piece of tape under your eye or like a sponge to cover it underneath it so the glitter can fall on top. I'm just going to take this NYX eyeliner and just line my lash line. I like my lash line to look dark so it can hide the glue and just everything that's going on right there, because let's be real, sometimes our lashes don't like to connect with our falsies, and that's why lash liner is our lifesaver. So this is the part that I've been waiting on. I've been waiting to show y'all my lashes. These are in the style cozy. I already have on one lash, but this is from my lash line, Vanity Luxe. I'm so excited to be sharing this with you all. I've never really done anything like this before. So, being able to have my own brand and just my own business, my own little small business, and be able to share my lashes and the styles that I picked out and everything. I really wanted to bring some lashes that fit everyone, not just one particular group. So I really made sure to focus on just giving y'all lashes that are natural, some dramatic, some voluminous, and some of them not so voluminous. So just be sure to check that out. I'll leave that in the description down below, and support your girl. I went back in with my shade Fine China and put that on my waterline just to tie in that eyeshadow look. Okay, the way I apply my foundation, I really don't apply this much, but since I wanted to give off a nice, flawless, dramatic, but still simple in a way look, I decided to just do 2 pumps, well, 2.5 pumps of foundation. I usually do 1.5, but you can do as many as you want. And I'm just going around areas where I see discoloration, acne spots, and just focusing more on those areas. And the technique I use is a pat and kind of gliding motion, but not gliding too much, but gliding just enough to blend in that foundation and to make it look like skin. And y'all, can we please just talk about how this foundation shade just blends right into my skin? This is in the shade 420, the Fenty Beauty makeup line, my girl Riri. But yes, this shade is so beautiful on me and it just blends so well with my skin. Don't forget under your neck either, because, we got to make sure it's blended everywhere. You don't have to go too crazy on your neck, just right underneath it where where you see me at. It's very important to get that skin look when you're wearing foundation, especially when you're wearing as much as I am. Well, no, I'm not wearing a lot, but I'm wearing more than what I usually wear. But if you do like to wear, up to 2 pumps of foundation, it is important to go in with a beauty blender and to blend it out evenly. I'm taking that same concealer I used under my brows that I mixed earlier with the lighter concealer, but in the shade Dark Sand, and I'm just putting that under my eyes.
Ryan Little.
I'm using one of the shades that I used to carve out my brows under my eyes in the shade Dark Sand, and I'm just taking my wet beauty blender and just lightly tapping and blending it under my eye. So since I am almost out of this concealer, I just focus on doing one section at a time instead of just putting the concealer under both eyes and then on my nose. This just helps with blending and, dry time. then next I just go in with my baking powder, and y'all, it's okay if you over bake like this, because I'm gonna show y'all. Look at me. I was looking like, whoop. To fix that mistake, just make sure you take your damp beauty blender, it has to be damp, and turn it on the other side and just pat that powder into your under eye. And I swear it would go away and just blend seamlessly. This is hands down my favorite sponge of all time, my Real Techniques makeup sponge. This thing, I've probably been through 3 of these, 3, 4, probably more than that. But you would never ever catch me not doing my makeup without one of these sponges, especially for the price. I mean, come on, you cannot beat that compared to the $20 beauty blenders and all these other beauty blenders. But I don't know, maybe one day I will try other beauty blenders, but this one, this is the one. Now I'm just carving out my cheekbones and just setting underneath. And I like to glide because I find it easier to find where you really need to place it. And so glide, and plus it's better than patting, because when you pat, it leaves like a blotchy, unpowdered, like powder look, so you want it to be even. Now I'm really going in with my contour stick, and y'all, I really just need to be a brand ambassador for Fenty, because it's just Fenty, 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 Fenty. But I'm going in with the concealer, not the concealer, the contour stick, and this is in the shade, it's right here by me, Espresso. And the way I apply this, because I'm not gonna lie, I used to not really be a big fan of this stick because it was really hard to get it to be even on my skin. But the way I apply it is I use another beauty blender, one that's kind of more dense. And this is from the NYX line, you know, NYX. And I just go in, I make sure to spray it with some setting spray or some water. And then I take the stick and I just brush it on top of the beauty blender, and I just go in around the temples of my face and my cheek areas, and you know where you contour, and I just pat, and then I go in on top with my bronzer. And I like to kind of go crazy with my bronzer because I like to add more color back into my face. This is a very, very important step for me. I will pick bronzer over contour any day. And I think this is because of what I mentioned just a few seconds ago of how streaky my contour stick looks. But if you apply it how I did, it will come out 100% better. Now I'm just going back underneath and I'm just removing all the powder from my face. And this is why I also made sure not to over bake, because I wanted that nice, clean, effortless blend. I didn't want it to be too harsh. And then I'm just going around and getting rid of all the other powder around my mouth, middle of my forehead. And also I'm going to remove the powder off the sides of my cheeks, well, underneath my cheeks. I'm just letting it set a little longer because I really like that cut, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm just taking my eyebrow gel, and I love this eyebrow gel, especially for the price. One thing about makeup is, if the price is right and it gives me the results I'm looking for, or just something close to it, I'm gonna recommend it, because some of this stuff is really good, especially better than some of this high price stuff. You really could get really nice, natural looking brows. After removing that powder, I just go in with my blush, and I try to focus on the upper part of my cheeks and not so much towards the middle, because it can give you that too much of a blush look, sorry. And you don't want that. Also, I like to kind of pop out the apples of my cheeks by doing that little smirk look. I went back in and added fine china close to my waterline just to make that blue really pop. Now for my favorite part. Well, kind of, sorta. Just a refresher, something that makes me feel good after all that hard work, you know? Not really hard, but you get what I'm saying, that hard effort. So after that refresher, I just go in with my highlighting powder in the ABH Cosmetics highlighter. This is so old, but you can use any highlighter you want. I didn't want to go for a super duper highlighted look because I don't really like super highlighted, you know, blind you until you can't see. I like something kind of soft, sheen, and gives you a nice glow, you know. And the way I apply this is I like to kind of do a little C motion and then apply a little bit on my nose. And then when I get to my eyebrows, I like to switch out the brush so I can really highlight underneath that brow. For my lips today, I'm going in with my NYX Butter Gloss in the shades Praline and Madeline. And so I first use Praline because it's that darker shade. And then I'm going to add Madeline in the middle. Since it's that lighter shade, I'm going to give that ombre look. I really was trying to look for my chestnut lip pencil from MAC, but for some reason I can't find it. Still haven't been able to find it. But while I was doing this lip, I noticed how much better it looked than how I usually do this lip, which is with that liner. So I think I'm going to start doing this more with just the glosses. So I do advise you, if you are someone that loves NYX butter glosses, try to mix their glosses, and especially like this, you'll definitely get an ombre look, and it'll look so nice and clean and just, like, so glossy, I swear. So to complete this look, you know I had to put on something blue. Got on my spoiled shirt. But yes, this is how the look came out. And I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. I've done this look so many times, posted so many pictures. I know people are sick of me posting this look. But if you liked and enjoyed, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you all soon.